All right, so just testing the mic to see if we are good to go. And yeah, seems to be on. Sometimes I've uploaded 2 videos in the last 2 months that have been muted and had to delete them, so that can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Okay, so we're back to a complex reflections video where basically I'm picking a topic and just talking about it, trying to keep it within a 10-minute window. Sometimes it goes a bit under, sometimes it's a bit over. Today we're just going over the benefits, I suppose, of being a versatile coach. And being a coach isn't, when I say coach, I don't mean just blanking everyone in on the same program. I mean having different methods to deal with different people, because at the end of the day, you are dealing with quite a lot of different people. Now, this brings me back to the point of a versatile coach and being a versatile coach. For me, I think it's a huge red flag if you are signing up for individual programming. You are paying for said programming and paying a reasonable amount, something that you know it's an investment. So it's not a cheap program, it's an investment. You know for the amount you're paying, you better get that return back. And if it's specifically individual programming, you should be getting that much back. So for me, a big red flag is if you give the transaction and the, what should I say? I suppose the service, if there's a very short time between those, that's a red flag. So, for example, I pay someone for 12 weeks of programming within the space of half hour to half a day. Bang, I have my program, I have my macros, I have my calories, I have my to-do list, I have my habit changing sheet, I have all of this, just everything's just sent to me in one, and that's it for the 12 weeks. And, you know, you'll be coached along the way, but you kind of have everything straight away. That to me is not an individual program. You're not taking into account really, I mean, the individuality. You're not taking into account my environment, my specifics. Now, maybe said coach has 10 different programs and they can kind of put you into a bubble of one, which, look, I mean, you could pick 3 or 4 different programs, make them, and put most people into those bubbles 100%. But you're paying for individual programming. So I suppose the bit I enjoy about being the versatile coach is dealing with versatile things. Now, in saying that, I have lost out on a lot of, I suppose, income over the years from doing this, because I am that versatile. Because, not that I'm extremely versatile, but because I don't push myself into a niche or into a certain market where you can really capitalize on. And it's quite a lucrative market to get into if you can find a niche and push down that niche. For example, if you are getting a message or you're seeing ads, or this is just basic marketing really. Let's say I'm out to sea and there's 500 fish and I cast a big net. I'm probably going to catch right in the middle of the fish, and I catch, maybe in the first throw I catch 300 of them. As I'm bringing the net in, maybe 100 escape. As it gets closer, maybe 50 die. Then by the end of it, there's 50 edible fish there, and you know, maybe you cook 10 of them. It's the same with clients. If I cast this huge net out and I cast this specific net out into a specific area where I'm targeting a specific fish or a specific client, you're going to really relate to that. Because if I'm sending out marketing or I have ads that say, hey, I'm looking for 10 males above the age of 35 who have very inactive jobs, maybe they're fathers and they don't have much time. If I really get specific on who I want to target and I nail that down, and you see that ad, you're going to say, well, that's me, that's specific to me, this is perfect. Or you see results of other people who are in the same boat as you, who have got results. And you say, that could be me. I'm the exact same as that person. In fact, I have more free time than that person had. You know, that is what basically going down a niche is you have a specific target market. Now that's great. And I think most coaches, most good coaches, look, it's very simple to see who's a good coach and who's not a good coach. I know a lot of coaches who have a specific market and they're unreal at that market. Keep it individual, even though they're in a specific bubble. They keep it individual. They really, really, really work hard with each client, and it's not a matter of sending you a bunch of sheets. Here's your calories. Here's your protein. Fuck off. See you in a few weeks. That kind of thing. It's a lot more individual than that. But what I'm saying is, there are a lot of coaches who aren't, and there is a lot that isn't. And I kind of went into a few years ago, I didn't go down any specifics, but I did find myself in this little bit of a bubble where if I get five food diaries, my responses were starting to look the same to these five people, as in I was giving them the same kind of results that worked for other people, or the same kind of habits, or the same kind of methods with calories, or the same foods to stick to, and things like this, or the same kind of training. Oh, I know this worked well on the bench for this person, or these five people. Let's just throw that kind of part of programming at these five. They'll be fine. If they don't get on with it, it's their own fault. They're not doing it. That kind of thing. And you do really kind of get this block, where you get into this habit of just, I suppose, dishing out non-specific things, and kind of dishing out generalized information, generalized programs, standardized plans, standardized answers, to be honest. And what can happen is your coaching can kind of get a bit standardized then. And I just think down the line that return on investment isn't really great. For me anyway, I believe. So, for example, at the moment there's about 5 people who I could put close to a bubble, and I could say, yeah, look, their training actually looks quite similar. Their eating habits, their goals, their sleep goals, things like that. It's kind of very similar. Like, there's not much difference there. It's just about managing time and managing sessions for them. But the rest, it's really interesting for me, because I could have someone who wants to run their first marathon. I'm having someone who just is basically doing powerlifting, just with time and equipment available to them. With another person, they're running the first 10K. I've got 2 or 3 who are entering CrossFit competitions. I have a good few who are in-season sports, GA players. I have a few who are off-season rugby players who are looking to change their body composition and looking to better themselves for the season ahead. So there's this big versatile client base, and it's really enjoyable, because I think what makes it easier for me to stay versatile is that I'm not fully online. So I get up in the morning and I have a small group conditioning session. I have a group of people with special needs. The next group is a small group strength session. The next could be a one-to-one with an older age person. The next could be maybe after work I'm helping out with a team or with an event somewhere. And it's just loads of different kind of exposure. And although as a result you're not specializing in anything, like I said before, if I want a coach that specializes in something, sure, I'm going to go down the coach of a good quality one who specializes in that. For example, I have someone for my knee now. He has 12 clients. We all have had ACL reconstruction. It's pretty specific. I'm gone down the line of, it's not someone who's versatile. But saying that, that's his profession. He started off general, and now that's his niche. So the same goes for me. I hope down the line maybe I will have a niche, maybe I won't. But at the same time, what I can start to do is pluck from different avenues. So being versatile allows me to not only give someone their calorie targets, which some coaches do. You might get your calorie targets and that's it, or from someone else you might get a habit changing calendar thing and that's it. What I like is I can give someone their calories, and if they work well with it, great. If not, I can give someone some habit-based changes to fit into those calories, or portion control changes to fit into those calories. Just like someone, if I give them habit-based changes, I can say, okay, well, let's focus on the protein aspect. That's the one thing I want you to measure. How do we get that in? And you can pull from different kind of strains and different kind of methods, I suppose. Same thing goes for training programs. If I have a 18-year-old male who's on his summer holidays with big athletic aspirations, loads of time off, all the time in the world, they're growing, testosterone raring to go, and then I've got a mother of 3 who's in her 40s who is working quite a lot, shift work, time is not of the essence, they're going to look very different. And that to me is enjoyable, the puzzle of sorting that out, because at the end of the day, I could go down the line of targeting one specific group, and I could shutter out all of these generic sort of programs and generic things, and I could get on very, very well with it, and it would be lucrative. You would get good results. You would be helping a lot of people. And the thing is, if you go fully online, or if a coach does jump fully online, I believe if I jump fully online, I would be more likely to do that, because number one, that would be my sole income. That'd be what I would depend on 100%. Number two, I don't want to work more than 40 hours a week, be it online or offline. I don't want to have to do all of this extra work. So what I'm going to do is try and push as much into a small amount of time or into an appropriate amount of time as I can. And that might result in casting that big fish net out. And that might result in giving out these generic programs or starting these generic programs or getting out as much data and as much program and as much coaching to as many people as possible. Because at the end of the day, if I'm fully online, my goal is to make a sustainable living and create a sustainable lifestyle for myself, one that I enjoy, one that gives me the flexibility and the freedom. So that is something that I would be worried about, is going full time online or even if it was down the line. But on the same hand, if I stay versatile now and I try to be as versatile as I can for the coming few months or the coming few years, sorry, I'm only 5-6 years into this, as I was saying, that gives me a lot to work with down the line. So let's say I want to go into a niche down the line. I know what I enjoy. I know what I dislike. I know what works. I know what works well with me. I know what works well with others. And I can kind of narrow the market a little bit more down the line because I know what I want. Whereas if I just came out of my coaching course and I just jumped straight into this niche market with zero experience, like, I mean, the courses, look, I've yet to hear of anyone failing a fucking PT course in Ireland. Maybe one fella, but Jesus, you should not be failing it. It's short term, very simple pass, very low threshold to get in. All you really need it for is your insurance. But once you come out of the course, you're totally on your own. I mean, most of the things that I have learned is basically from experience from work, taking the initiative myself, doing my own courses, online study, doing my own study, and applying it myself and making a lot of mistakes along the way. So I don't see how it would be possible for me to go into a niche yet without having another good few years under my belt. But at the same time, if you were to go straight into niche, I mean, you're narrowing the window. So let's say I came straight out and I worked in a niche market for 5 or 6 years and I realized, you know what, I actually don't like this. I just kind of jumped into it. I want to change field. You're kind of at the bottom of the pecking order there again. Whereas if you have this wide base, just like anything else, the wider the base, the higher the point. So if I have this wide base and then I go niche in something, I always still have that base, or I can always maybe still keep a few clients who are different and versatile. So if I want to change my mind, it's not a huge drop. I can drop to this level and work my way up again. The same goes for down the line if I wanted to pull some things from, as I said, with versatile coaching, if I wanted to pull some things down the line from other methods of coaching. So for example, I'm coaching powerlifters, let's say, down the line. That's my niche. That's where I'm going. It's their off season. What do they need to do? They need to improve their general physical preparedness. They need to improve their aerobic capacity. I've worked a lot in that field, so I can pull some stuff from there. Vice versa, I'm working with a runner. In their off season, they need to work on their strength, or someone who does triathlon needs to get as much muscle mass in their body as possible because, well, not as much as possible, but a lot more to deal with holding on to more glycogen because they're doing an extreme event. So I've worked a lot in the hypertrophy world or the strength world, so I can pull stuff from that as well. I've just looked at the clock and I'm gone over the 10 minutes. I'm at 13. Okay, so basically, the main point of this reflections is I think there are far more benefits in your early days at being a versatile coach. And yes, I have sacrificed probably a lot more money by doing this because I haven't narrowed the market, or I haven't specifically targeted a group. I haven't done any advertising. But when the time comes when I know what I want to work with and I know what I want to do and it makes enough sense for me revenue-wise and skills-wise, I think it would be a good time then to jump into some niche coaching. But for now and for the foreseeable future, I want to keep it as versatile as possible. I want to work with lots of different people with different goals. I do not want to generalize my practice at all or standardize my coaching practice at all. And I want to, I suppose, keep working on these puzzles until I figure out what's the best method for me moving forward and the best method for clients moving forward who will be working with me. So that's basically it. I think this is the 12th video I've done of these. I kind of enjoy them because there's no PowerPoint and it's just train of thought stuff. So if anyone's listening, thank you. And if you want to find me, you can get me on Instagram at Komplex Fitness. And my email is kjfarrellfitness@gmail.com.